I've been using the Phantom for about 5 months now. I've used quite a different amount of skates and a bunch of different mice, and I think I finally have my full thoughts on what the mouse pad kind of is like and what I think of it, right? So, long story short, it is a speed glass pad by Tekasai. It has this texture to it that's like perceptible and nice, but not like abrasive or uncomfortable, right? So it's kind of like moving your mouse over like, it's hard to explain. It's like kind of like moving your mouse over like if you have like a table that's not like super wood or anything like fucking bumpy or anything, right? Like you can feel like the table through your skates is the best way that I can describe it. It's like the only analogous experience that I've had, because the other glass pads that I've used have kind of been like smooth as maxing, right? So the few things that I have tried that I liked, these three skates would probably be my top three. The Ultraglide Ren Sports, the Ultraglide Silences, and the Jade Airs by X-Ray Pad. I'll put the other skates that I've used, like all of these other ones that I tried, in the description, and my little thoughts on them, because I don't think they're important enough to talk about. But this is actually left to right the order that I enjoyed each one. So for tracking, I think that these Ren Sports are actually really, really good. I think Pinguify in their mouse pad sheet or like mouse skate sheet with the Phantom in their video didn't like these as much, and I am inclined to agree, but they were really, really nice in tracking games. Like in tracking centric games, the Ren Sports felt like just a little bit more locked in. They felt a little less fast because you're not taking advantage of that variable pressure pushing down into the pad, which these weren't very good at. And they had like a little bit more of an abrasive texture, and they were a little bit noisy, but they felt more like the perceptible texture that I was getting through them made it so that I could track just slightly nicer, right? So they tracking on the Ren Sports was really, really good. Now for these two, I kind of wanted to talk about these more in length, so let me actually like put a game on. Fucking let me actually play the game. But the main one that I ended up going with was the X-Ray Pad Jades. I use those more frequently than like anything else because they just ended up being so good. They had the best texture feedback without being uncomfortable out of the foam layer skates, which I think are really, really good for the Phantom. Like the foam layer skates, like kind of allow, like they allow you to feel that pressing into the pad a little bit more. So I just think were the best. They did a really good job of giving me feedback with the texture. They did a really, really good job of like balancing the speed a little bit, because like it's not the fastest skate that I used, but it did feel like I was getting the most, like when I pressed down the least, I guess, is the like that interaction. Because you have to press down pretty hard to get that like texture, or not texture, the stopping power. So like if you want to get that like stopping power benefit, like let me try to like utilize it a little bit more. Like stuff like this, like you gotta kind of like tension max, right? And like that's a whole different thing that I'll talk about in a minute, but this one kind of made me able to use that variable pressure without tension maxing super, super hard. So I think that they're just like, if you're playing like a flicking game and you want the texture from the mouse pad, I think they're the best. And the only thing downside, like the only big downside with them is that they're like kind of expensive in the long term if you end up like using this pad for a long time, because I was changing skates like every like 2 or 3 weeks. And if you're less picky about it than me, you might be able to make them last longer, but like it's just this pad is quite rough on your skates. It's kind of evil. how much it destroys skates. So it is definitely something to consider when you're like looking at what skate you want to use. So a skate that actually does that, does handle that issue specifically, was the other like favorite skate that I used, the Ultra Glide Silence. Now I personally didn't end up using them too frequently because of the main downside, which is the fact that for me, I wanted the texture feedback from the pad because I really needed to feel, you know, where my mouse was going, right? And with the silences, you get a substantial amount of muting of that texture. So like there is a good amount less perceptible texture when you're using the silences compared to when you're using the jaders. And I think that like for me is like quite a big downside. But for you, it might be something that you're actually looking for, especially if you come from maining glass for like a long time. You might want that. And it's, I don't know. It's definitely worth thinking about. And since I didn't use them for like a crazy amount of time, as I didn't really like, they didn't fit my preference, I don't have like that much more to say about them, but they're good. Now the variable pressure aspect of it, and how that kind of interacts with your aim. The variable pressure is like the coolest idea ever. I think it has like so much potential if somebody can actually use it, but I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of doubt the viability of being able to use it, if that makes sense. Cause like, it's just such a rough transition going from like normally using the mouse to like actually full pressing down to get that feeling from it. Like when you are getting the maximum amount of like stopping power from the mouse pad, you are like pushing into the pad. Like you are like pressing pretty hard into the surface of the pad. And like, it's just, I don't know, with it being a hard pad, it just feels so unintuitive. Like it feels like I shouldn't be doing this, you know, like, especially like trying to control tension on like multiple target switches, right? So like if I'm going like, to do like a 3TS, right? I'm gonna like almost max out my tension budget by the third target. So if I have to track post flick on the third target, I like might not get that kill. And that happened like actually a lot, which was kind of annoying. And I kind of like made me not the biggest fan of like that idea in general, but I kind of ended up doing this kind of middle ground where I was trying to take a full effect of it for a while. Trying to get like a key 83 like stopping power from like a cloth pad with the Phantom. And pressing full down into the pad was just kind of like nerfing me super hard. And then I started kind of, you know, ignoring that a little bit more and kind of focusing more on, you know, just only using a little bit of tension to press down. And that actually ended up working pretty well. I think that was like the ideal method. But like it didn't change the friction all that much. It just gave me that extra little bit that I needed sometimes. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't think it's like something that can be fully utilized unless you just are like insanely good at tension maxing or tension. Yeah, I guess tension maxing is a good way to put it. Like if you can like control that amount of like downwards pressure, like it seems like it would be good, but I don't know. I personally am not good enough. Like I don't know if there's somebody out there that's good enough at controlling their tension when they're pressing down into the pad that hard, but like for me, no, I just can't do it. So while cool in concept, I don't think in practice it was right for me. I think I would just prefer like a more balanced glass pad, more like just universally more tension, or not more tension, more friction. And it was kind of disappointing, but at the same time, it's been a fun thought experiment regardless. So no harm in that, right? Another thing is the kind of like the speed of the pad as a whole. I found the speed of a pad, like the pad, to be fun, right? Like I think it's really fun to try to control a mouse pad that's like that fast, right? But as you can just see, like I literally just like demonstrated it on accident there, where like when you're like kind of like sending arm flicks, it does not feel great to send arm flicks on this mouse pad. Cause it's like, it's so hard to like actively stop the mouse without over tensing. And I don't know. I think like I play like worse with it like half the time, and then I play like better with the speed like other half of the time, right? Because it just introduces so much like room for error in your like everyday gameplay, right? So it's fun. I think it's cool, and if that's something that you're interested in, if that's something that you like, and to like tame the speed of the glass, right? Like it's interesting. It's interesting, but I don't think that it's necessarily an objective good or an objective bad, because like there are situations where it does help me. Like the micros on this mouse pad feel fucking insane. Like like they feel crazy. Like you're just like making these really fast, really tiny micros. And there's like a good clip that I have that I'm gonna put in the little clip dump at the end of the video, where it's like a 3TS in Battlefield 5 with a Tommy gun, and like I kind of just like I can like switch off so like fluidly and transition into like tracking really fluidly if I'm utilizing it perfectly. And it's like one of my favorite clips that I have in general, not even just on the Phantom, but because it just like looks so clean. It looks like I'm like cheating. It's crazy. And I think it's like that, those moments are like definitely like more possible on this mouse pad for me, which makes me want to like use it more and more. But then like I have like a bad day on the Phantom and it just feels like horrible. It just feels so sad. Especially when I was like trying to like play Deadlock. I was like trying to rank up and stuff in Deadlock, and that's unfortunate. There's an elite guy on top of the fucking thing up there. But it was not ideal for like consistency in a video game, because like I would have like a bad day and I would lose more games than normal because I would like miss like a slight couple of seconds of tracking, and then it would just be like that guy would get away or something. Like that guy would like take a zip and then get away, and it's just like the worst feeling ever. And then I'm like, I hate this mouse pad. I never want to use it again. So those moments definitely do happen. And maybe if that's maybe a skill issue. But yeah, it's definitely something to consider. And honestly, with this mouse pad, I think like it's only really worth it if you just want to try that, like that variable pressure thing. I just don't know how you would utilize it like effectively. Like if you try to use like it's just one of those extra steps of thinking into aiming that like it just feels awkward. Unintuitive is the best way that I've heard it put. Where it just like doesn't feel right. Like no matter how much I try, I can't like get it to feel good. So I don't know how like good it actually is. I just think it's a really cool idea. And I'm glad that I bought the mouse pad, but at the end of the day, like its viability is a little bit, you know, I don't know. I just don't know. I feel like it's I don't want to say it's not viable in terms of like using it, but I just don't think it's like something that is like in the game for me at least. So, and with the closing out of this gunfire run, because they nerfed the fucking the end game of this game to be like really short, I'm gonna put a little target switching Phantom little clip dump at the end, and that's it. Thank you.